Welcome back. My name is Patrick Nolan. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Missouri. This is Pat Talks Law. Today, as I'm getting ready to go to Scout Camp and dealing with the myriad of issues that come up with that, I've been talking with a number of leaders from both the units that we're responsible for and some others, that the leaders are planning on taking control, possession of medication that the scouts need to take. Things like Adderall or daily medications that may be controlled substances. As a criminal defense attorney, this sets off all kinds of warning bells for me. I deal with cases all the time where somebody is arrested because there was somebody else's medication in their car, or they had somebody else's medication bottle in their pocket, or they bought somebody else's medication and just said they were holding it for them. So I'm a little concerned about that because it creates an unnecessary risk. Now, yes, if the parent is giving you permission to provide that and there's documentation of that, is it likely that a prosecutor is going to press the case forward on a scoutmaster? Probably not. However, can they? And, well, probably yes. So, for the units that I'm responsible for, I strongly encourage my scoutmasters to not take possession of a scout's medication. Now, they absolutely can and should help that scout take their medication at an appropriate time by setting an alarm, checking it every day if it's an everyday medication. Make sure they take their stuff in the morning. They can do that in front of the scoutmaster, or they can go to the medic. The medication may be able to be stored at the medic, depending on the proper licensing and approvals for that. So that is, there are avenues that can manage that. And a adult leader, scoutmaster, one thing we're doing with our scouts is encouraging them to grow and be responsible for themselves. And to do that, we might want to verify and check that they have taken their medication. But if we're holding on to it for them, telling them to come here, we're not necessarily teaching them that level of responsibility in the way that I would necessarily do it. And you may have a different approach. But I don't encourage our unit leaders to take possession of a controlled substance that belongs to a youth that is not their own. If it has to be controlled by someone other than the youth, then maybe you need to look at the parent volunteering and coming along on this outing, whether it's a weekend camp out or a summer camp. If it, or if it is a summer camp, see what the camp medical facility is. A number of them have anywhere from nurse practitioners and doctors and people who are licensed to handle medication available. So you would need to check with the individual camp and see how they manage that. The thing to remember is the controlled substance needs to stay in the possession of the person who has the authorization to possess it. That would be the person it was prescribed to. You can most definitely bring your scout over quietly while you're following 2 Deep and all the proper youth protection, and ensure that the scout is taking their medication. You want 2 Deep youth protection, and you want to make sure that you are protecting that scout's privacy. You cannot yell across the campsite, "Hey Tommy, have you taken your pills today?" Because that's violating that scout's private medical or right to privacy in regards to their medical conditions. So please do not possess controlled substances that are prescribed to someone other than you or your children. If a scout has a controlled substance in their bag or in their tent, you need to make sure that there is some way that that is secured so that it doesn't wind up being acquired by some other scout with less than positive intentions. Although we hope that that doesn't happen. If you are not involved in scouting, do not possess any medication of yours in a bottle that is not marked for that medication in you. Do not possess any medication belonging to somebody else in their pill bottle or in another container. Something you don't have the prescription for, unless it is your minor children and you have the prescription for that. That's all for today. Thank you.